the piano, but then I got totally fascinated with the classical guitar and realized I needed a great teacher, so I went to Vienna and studied in the academy there with a great teacher.
I have one more question, if it's okay. Is there any musicians you have like that you wanted to play with them and had the opportunity to play with them?
Yeah, I mean a lot. Let's see. I don't know. I could run down and name drop a bunch of, but the older I get, the less impact these names have with people. Like, my generation basically was like Schofield and McLaughlin and Stanley Clark and Chick too, really. And as I say, I mean a lot of people, Freddie Hubbard and Stan Getz too. And I mean I just have a long list of names, and then younger names too, Dave Holland and John Abercrombie, may he rest in peace, and so it just goes on and on anyway, but that's one sort of measure about, at least when I was in New York, kind of a measure of how well you were doing by who you were playing with. So,
was this part of your schooling, playing with them, because you're home?
All of my schooling was playing with them, and my own study, I mean, I sort of picked apart Bill Evans's style of playing, and that's what drove me to want to play exactly like him, which I managed to do after about 2 or 3 years. And then I started paying attention to the other people that had been influenced by him, like Victor Feldman, the English piano player, vibes player, and
their way of playing his style.
yeah, they were still playing beautifully. And Keith too, even Keith Jarrett. Oh yeah, and I played with Keith Jarrett too. I think people know who he is. I mean, even then, I mentioned somebody like name drop Keith Jarrett, and nobody knows who he is. So, so even Keith we're getting too old, I guess. But so I mean, it just shows you can't succeed dropping names and mentioning who you played with. This to say I played with a lot of great people.
You decided to live in Italy. Why?
I fell in love with an Italian woman and got married, and she's an actress, and so her work, and she was in theater on tour a lot, and I wasn't going to ask her to move to the United States, and by then most of my work was in Europe anyway, so I kept a place in the States for a while, and then but started living in Palermo for about 10, 12 years, and then we moved to Rome about 15 years ago, I guess.
Do you think that in general nowadays, for the music that you are most familiar with to play, Europe is a better place to present it than America? I don't know.
Well, I think it is. I mean, there are completely different countries, and just right next to each other, different languages, and a deeper sense. Even without trying, you have a deeper sense of art and the variation of it. So in a way, I mean, it should be more of a fertile place to learn how to play improvised music. It doesn't have to be bebop anymore. That's the trap. I mean, you have to, if you decide to play something the jazz, standard jazz and standards, it's almost like Baroque music. It has it's become so standardized the way that chords move. So if you learn that, and then eventually you start trying to break away from that, and which has successfully been done. But I still think in Europe is, to go back to I think Europe is a great place to be a musician. Because there isn't that much work in the United States that is so big you can't get from town to town anymore without flying there.
Is it hard to play that pattern of chords, that pattern of playing, like you said, that there's standardized music, that every chord, every second chord is already known. Like, am I understanding right? That there's a pattern of playing.
In what? In what kind of music?
But you said it right there.
Oh, I was talking about the jazz, let's say the old standards, the jazz standards are really from show tunes in the United States. And they're almost all constructed on 2-5-1, like D minor to G7 to C, you know, or D minor to G7, and then you go to the next, maybe E to, you know, it's a chain of these circular fourths. And they all seem to move that way. And once you get the hang of that, you can almost play any standard. And some of them I hadn't heard. I'd be playing the piano on some gig, and the bass player would call out where the bridge was going. He wouldn't say, call every chord, he would just say what key the bridge was in. So you knew how to approach it. You approach it the same way always to, you know, go to the, if it was going to be in the G, then you would get there by playing the D minor and the A7. And the A7 being some variation of that, which would be +9, -5, and all the little numbers.
Yeah, like second step, fifth step.
Yeah, exactly, which can be a real headache, you know, but you can hear it. It's better to learn how it sounds and how it moves. In any music you're trying to play, you're trying to make it move.